Hello, everyone. Happy Friday the 13th. Welcome to Steven Shinder Reviews in video form. I'm gonna keep details as vague as possible. I watched the series premiere of Dexter Original Sin last night on Paramount Plus. It was 11 p.m. I had some time to kill, so I figured, what the heck. So I watched it. I have some general thoughts about that, which lead me to some general thoughts about the how the direction of the Dexter franchise kind of looks to me. Like it kind of feels to me like they're kind of chasing the Breaking Bad franchise model. And again, I'll keep details as vague as possible since some of you might not be fully caught up on either franchise. But yeah, sort of going back in time, my brother and I think our friend or a couple of friends, we marathoned Dexter when it was on Netflix. This would have been early 2014. So we went through all 8 seasons. And then after that, we marathoned through Breaking Bad. And then, watching Better Call Saul and El Camino whenever they became available. Um, for Better Call Saul, we were able to watch some as they aired, and some of them when they came on Netflix. Of course, El Camino was on Netflix. And now, within these last few years, 3 years ago actually, Dexter New Blood was this distant follow up to the original 8 seasons. I should mention, I guess, I've also read the Dexter novels. I read most of them a few months after watching the show, and then the final one shortly after it came out. And while the TV show ending was disappointing to many, I could kind of see what they were going for. And so there were some things that I could totally see the vision, but there are still definitely some things in that final season that fumbled things. And the ending of the novel series, I thought, was worse, surprisingly. Or maybe not surprisingly, since even the penultimate book, it really felt like things were really falling off. And I read the 2 comic miniseries, so yeah, I'm pretty in tune with the Dexter franchise. So, but when Dexter New Blood came out, I didn't watch it right away because I didn't feel so sure about it. And it actually wasn't until this past Saturday that I went ahead and watched all, was it 10 episodes? Yeah, I watched all of them within one day, and I really enjoyed it. I can see how the finale might feel rushed in certain aspects, but I think the way that it ended, at the end, I feel like it was more organic, at least, than how the original series finale ended. Um, so, watching that, having completed that, I wasn't so sure that I would be so into watching Dexter Original Sin right away. This prequel that was coming out less than a week after I'd finished this mini series. That was a distant finale of sorts to the original 8 seasons. But then, like I said, I had time to kill, so I watched the series premiere last night. I was very surprised how the first few minutes kind of spoil what happens in Dexter New Blood, and then flashes back to that 1991 time period. So, going into that prequel era, and you got all these recasts of familiar characters, which I'm not completely sure about some of the recasts. I do think Harrison or Harry, I guess I should say, feels like Harry, and Dexter, Deb. But then seeing some of the other familiar characters, but like younger versions, it feels a bit off to me. And also the lighting feels a little too dark in places, which I guess maybe it's supposed to mirror the style of the flashbacks from the original show. I vaguely remember the lighting being kind of like that, but it feels kind of annoying to me. The music, now and then there's a song that pops up, I guess, to remind us that this is in the past, and maybe it's to wake up the audience. And while the episode I thought was okay at best overall, um, you know, I was scratching my head wondering like, what is it about this that's not connecting with me the way it seems to be connecting with people here and there online. And I think to me, it almost feels like this could be a fan film. And I don't say that with every prequel y thing. I really enjoyed Solo with Star Wars Story, Better Call Saul, excellent prequel, and there's some other examples, X-Men First Class, but something about this almost feels fan filmy to me, even though you have heavy hitter like Sarah Michelle Gellar in the show. So yeah, I don't know. And, it got me thinking, the Breaking Bad model it, show had an excellent finale and then got followed up by El Camino, showing what happens after, the aftermath of that. And I guess you could kind of compare Dexter New Blood to that, even though in that instance it's years later, um, like around a decade, give or take. And then you get this prequel series that begins by showing stuff that's in the future before going back, and that feels very much like Better Call Saul. And so it almost feels to me like the Dexter franchise is chasing the Breaking Bad franchise model. And it feels like, I don't know, like Dexter the appeal, I guess, is the thrill of will Dexter get caught or not, and that was definitely an appeal in Breaking Bad as well, with all these other things happening too. But Original Sin doesn't have that thrill because it's a prequel, and the stuff that's the framed narrative aspect, it doesn't quite work for me. And so it to me feels like they're trying to emulate something akin to the Breaking Bad franchise. And as such, it feels inauthentic to me. And, if you know the title of the other spin-off that's in the works, um, you might roll your eyes once you know what that is. And yeah, it's like, what are we doing here? I really just don't know, like, if this franchise is keeping my attention now. I was very satisfied watching New Blood. I was very late to the party, and so watching Original Sin, just this first episode, so soon after watching New Blood, it was so jarring. And I don't know if I'm gonna keep tuning in week to week. This would actually be my first time tuning in week to week as a Dexter series aired. Everything else I marathoned after the fact. But yeah, I guess it would really depend what my mood is like. But I'm sort of leaning toward thinking, I don't really know if I feel invested in this Original Sin series. And I'm curious what could happen in the other spin-off they have planned, but even then, I'm not really sure that that's the best direction to go with the franchise. You know, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, excellent writing, and El Camino as well. Maybe not on the same heights of those two shows, but the way it executed things, I feel like that was very much my bread and butter. They didn't have every single thing planned from the beginning, but with what they had to work with as they kept going, they really made it feel well thought out. This whole world that those particular releases inhabit. With Dexter, it's feeling to me kind of more artificial now. And yeah, I don't know how else to put it. Maybe I'm in the minority. I really don't know. It's just I can't shake this feeling of what are we even doing here? Like I don't know. And I'm not calling to boycott the franchise or anything like that. There are just some other shows that I feel more invested in of various genres that the moment. So I'm not really sure if I'll be tuning in the way I do other shows. Maybe I'd catch this a while after the fact. I don't know. I could change my mind next week or a couple weeks from now, but at the moment, I think the way the Dexter franchise is progressing just isn't very exciting to me. Like it really isn't all that much. So yeah, I don't know. It's just even if they are like kind of surface level similarities with where the Breaking Bad franchise went, it's still something that kind of stood out to me, and it couldn't help wondering, is that sort of where they're taking inspiration? Seeing how this other franchise, I feel weird calling it a franchise when it's not like superhero stuff or whatever, um, taking inspiration, seeing that people really liked what happened in these other things and trying to do their own warped version of that fits within the context of the Dexter universe. And New Blood, I know the finale of New Blood was divisive, but I thought it was a proper ending. It felt like that to me, but it it now kind of feels like they're trying to make things that they think fans would prefer, and maybe also based on the success of other things. So yeah, I really don't know what else to say. I'm just not all that excited about the Dexter franchise right now. But that's me. If it still excites you, I mean, cool. But yeah, I just figured I'd come on here and sort of air my overall thoughts on all that. I wasn't planning on doing this, but I was just, I was walking my dog and like I had all these thoughts here that I figured, hey, maybe I could put these out in a video. And so there you go. So that's it for now. Thanks for tuning in to Steven Shinder reviews in video form, and I'll see you all soon.